Okay, I think that's all that I need to say without further ado. Mansell and Tracy, I'll turn it over to you. And please help me welcome them.
So you can take a girl out of Yorkshire, but you can't take the Yorkshire out of her. And the auctioneer thought it hardly worth his while to deal with the old violin. But he lifted it up with a smile. "What will you give me for the old violin?" he said. "£1? £2? Have £2? £3? Anyone give me £3 for the old violin? £3 at the back. Go in. Go in." But no. From the back of the room came an old grey-haired man. And he took the violin, blew the dust off the bow, tightened the strings, began to play. When he finished, the room was silent. The auctioneer picked the violin back up and quietly said, "What will you give me for the old violin? £1,000? £2,000? £3,000? Go in, and gone." People began to cheer, but quite a few people cried out, "We don't understand." They said, "What changed its value?" "Ah," said the auctioneer, "that would be the touch of the master's hand."
Good, can you hear me? We're coming through. Great to be here, thank you for your welcome. So my name, as advertised, is Mansell, and as Marcy said, my wife Tracy and three teenage boys. In fact, our last son Joshua became a teenager just recently, so we have our work cut out. Maybe you've been there and got the t-shirt, so any advice I will gladly receive after the evening is finished. I was born at a young age, so that's the joke for this evening, so the rest of it's going to be pretty dull. And if you listen to my kids, I was born somewhere between the demise of the dinosaurs and the advent of the motor car. Getting off to the grey hair that Tracy referred to just now. I guess I would best describe myself as someone who wears two hats. So one hat I would say is, for a number of years, I've been a pastor of churches. My first church was in Clayton, North East Manchester, and I recently stepped down from pastoring a church in Frodsham. And in fact, I often introduce myself, when I go preaching, I often say, you're probably the only pastor that you meet who's on the fiddle. Yeah, I know. The other hat I wear is that of a professional musician. And so for the first part of this evening's entertainment, I'm going to focus on that part of my life. But just before we furiously writing down there. Lots of activity involved. Great. Okay, let me just do a little bit of a cultural test of the temperature of this room this evening. Who's heard of Arthur Rubinstein? Yes, there are some cultural thoughts in the building this evening. Arthur Rubinstein was a famous pianist, hailed by the New York Times, perhaps one of the best pianists of the 20th century. He played, famous for playing Chopin. Arthur Rubinstein used to live in Paris, and on the same block as Arthur Rubinstein lived a guy called Michael Rubinstein. So occasionally what would happen is that mail would go to the wrong person. You understand? So Michael would receive Arthur's and Arthur would receive mine. Okay. One day, Michael came round and he said, look, Art, got these letters, but will you please tell my wife that Ilse of Prague and Louise of Vienna and Misha of Leningrad are not my friends. So Arthur reached into his drawer, got a whole pile of letters out, and he said, I'll do that if you'll do me a favour. Will you tell my wife that the 5 million lira in the Roman bank and the $2 million pounds in the Bank of England are not mine? Okay, lots of music this evening. So this is another one. got me thinking as I was putting that together about names. I don't know, do you ever wonder why you're called what you're called? So my name is Mansell. And my brother is called Quentin. I often wonder what my parents were on when they named us Quentin and Mansell. I mean, what your regular names are there? In fact, we had some friends who would forget which one we were. So I would be called Mantin, and he was called Quentin, just so they at least got it right. I tell them my name, they usually say, "You what?" So I normally say Mansell, as in Nigel. Yeah, Nigel Mansell, that kind of gives people something to hook something onto, doesn't it? Well, the problem with that is that then when people see me next time, they call me Nigel, rather than Mansell. So you need to picture the scene here. Tracy and I decided to get married, this was quite a few years ago, and we go to our pastor, and he takes us through some kind of marriage prep courses. And regularly, during these 3 marriage prep courses we did, he kept calling me Nigel. Okay, so my wife has this vision. This is her day, this great day, walking up the aisle, gets to the front, gets all the rigmarole, and Tracy, do you take Nigel Mansell to be your husband? It was, yeah, pretty good stuff. There was one good side to this Nigel Mansell stuff. So, you know, I played for a number of years in the BBC full-time, part-time, and freelance. And when I first joined, it kind of coincided with the rise of Nigel Mansell's fame. He won the world championship, didn't he? I think at least once. And so regularly, I'd be playing the concert, I'd turn the last page of the music, and there would be a newspaper clipping stuck in on the last page of this performance. The best one, so I had my locker was covered in, you know, Nigel Mansell, Mansell #1, Mansell world champion, Mansell top of the world. The best one was this: Mansell refuses to play second fiddle. Brilliant, just brilliant. Okay, another piece. Oh, yeah, okay. So here's a clue. This is dead easy, but I'll give you a clue anyway. Don't give clues. Okay, I'll listen to my wife like I always do. And I got to see that show, and my brother got to see 2001 Space Odyssey. I don't think I missed out on that deal tonight. My middle son Jonathan, so he's just finished year 9, he's just taken his options, and he starts year 10 from September. And regularly, bless him, he comes up to me and says, "Dad, I just wish I knew what I was going to do when I grew up. I wish I knew what I was going to do when I grew up." And when I listen to that comment, I think, I was so blessed. Because from the age of 12, I knew what I wanted to do. I knew I would. And I think the seeds were sown of that when I, as a 12-year-old, and these are the days, aren't they? Going back a few years, I took myself off to I come from North Devon, the local town Barnstable. I took myself off to a concert that was given by the Bournemouth Sinfonietta Orchestra. And Hick Hall, and for some reason I was the only person sat on the front row with no one behind me. I mean, there were people a few rows back, but I was this 12-year-old kid sat on the front row, listening to this concert. And I came out of that concert and I said to my dad, when I grow up, I just want to sit on the back desk of the second violins. I just knew. That's all I wanted to do. That was the vision, that was the plan. And so, essentially, the rest of my life was my childhood was kind of geared towards realising that dream. So, violin lessons, exams, and my poor dad and mum. Here's the scenario. So I'm in one room, okay? I'm in one room practicing my violin, kind of Mozart, Beethoven, scales, studies. And my brother was into Pink Floyd. Okay? and my parents bought him these old days, these massive kind of bass bin that just churns out the noise. So he's full belt playing, Dark Side of the Moon, and I'm playing, I don't know, Mozart, Sonata or something. And the house was just like, what a noise. I mean, what they put up with for us as kids. Anyway, auditioned for a place at the Royal Northern College of Music, or the place there, and spent 6 years studying there. Did a 4-year degree course and then 2 years postgraduate. And many memories. Tracy and I were kind of reminiscing, and also with Marcy on earlier on. But 2 moments I remember very well. Some of you have heard the story before, but I will share it because I think it's quite amusing. In my 3rd year at musical, I got to dance with the Duchess of Kent. For real. Now I use the word dancing very loosely, more like trying to look cool when you've got 2 left feet. And here's how it all came about. I was a very shy, locked-in kind of person. I mean, I would rarely venture out of my room at college. I was desperately shy. Really found it hard to communicate with people, to associate with people. But in my 3rd year college, the kind of breakout year. And I just happened to throw out this comment, wouldn't it be good to dance with the Duchess of Kent? Where it's like, this is a Christmas ball, okay, so we've had our food, she's invited guests, she's there with a bodyguard, she's got his, gun, all that kind of stuff. Anyway, and she's had this dance with the college presidents, and I just throw out this comment, wouldn't be good. And so they dared me. Go and ask her, go. Sound a plonker. So I listen to them, and I go up to her, not expecting anything, because she was only had one dance. I said, Mum, would you like to have a dance? And to my horror, she said yes. So the big band strike up. What do you do? I mean, where do you put your hands on the Duchess? I mean, there's all these logistic questions to ask. And then this dance seemed to go on forever and ever, and I was rattling, what do I talk about, But the best bit of all, or the worst bit of all, was that when the dance finally finished, I walked off and left her standing in the middle of the dance rather than accompanying her to the side saying, thank you, Mum, for a very nice dance. That was one. I left college in 86, and a year later, age 25, I got my job, the only kind of job I've ever had, really, musically, with the BBC Philharmonic. And man, that was almost 35 years ago plus. 35 years of professional violin playing. Been an amazing journey. I've been very, very blessed. So let's have some more music. many of you are familiar with the Young Musician of the Year thing? You know, it happens every year. So there's a whole bunch of incredibly talented, mind-blowing talented, off-puttingly talented young players, and I think they kind of do it in regions. And it's actually kind of whittles down to 4 finalists, one from each class. So you have a percussionist, you have a wind player, a brass player, and a string player. And as the kind of final thing to choose the winner, they get to play with a professional orchestra. And this year, I'm speaking of, it happened to be us, with the BBC Philharmonic. And so we knew that there'd be the whole kind of camera stuff, and so we were expected to wear white jackets, obviously, for the concert. Apparently, anyway, we wore white jackets. And they wanted us to wear white jackets for the first half of the rehearsal. I guess to get camera angles and colouring and all that kind of stuff. So knowing this, this guy Andy was a guy who's a violin player, we sit next to each other occasionally. We said, come on, let's go into town, let's buy some ridiculous gear. So we bought some Hawaiian shorts, some really loud shirts, some dark glasses, and a hat. And so the first half of the rehearsal, we were all topped up in our white jackets and tailhoods, like trousers. In the interval, we went off toilets, got dressed up into our Hawaiian stuff, and then trooped back onto stage, everyone in their white tux except for us. And they just looked stupid, but it was quite funny. It was fun to do. I'm not too sure whether the cameramen were amused by our escapade or not. 15 years later, Andy, bless him, he was out walking in the Andes, and he got an aneurysm and just dropped dead there. He was 45 probably, out walking in the hills, and that was it. That was the end. And it had quite, I mean, it would do, but an orchestra is a bit like a family. You know, you spend so much time together. In the early years of touring, we would tour in different parts of the world. In the early years, we used to have to share rooms. So you spend a lot of time together. And so when that happens, it really kind of hurts, you know. And I wasn't a full-time member at that time, but I got a phone call and went down to Birmingham, and I knew his brother, his family obviously gutted, you know. It was a difficult time. And I think situations like Andy kind of confront you with your own mortality, don't they? And I think they challenge you to kind of reevaluate your priorities, perhaps leave you a little bit bewildered and certainly full of questions. And I was reminded of a Peanuts, a comic strip that I saw. There's a conversation that takes place between Lucy and Charlie Brown. And Lucy observes that, she said that, you know, life is like a deck chair. Some people put it where they can see where they come from. Some people put it so they can see where they are, and some people put it so they can see where they're going. And then Charlie Brown says, I can't even get this stupid thing assembled. and I laughed at this because, you know, it comes up with pictures of someone trying to put up the deck chair and they're all falling over and getting caught in it all. But I think, you know, I think it's, but sometimes, as much as we think we are in control of life, we're not, are we? You can't control those things. We think we know where we're going, we make our plans, we have our, you know, in church we're encouraged to have 5-year plans and our 10-year plans in business, 5-year plan, 10-year plan, you plan for your retirement, you plan for this, you plan for that. But actually, as much as we plan, sometimes just life just hits you, doesn't it? The unexpected event just hits you, and it just doesn't make sense. And I think, you know, a bit like trying to unfold the deck chair, so you're just left bewildered. Yeah, difficult. Anyway, I'm going to play a piece of music, and then we're going to have an interval. I think somebody's going to come and talk about pop-up pantry. It's a good alliteration, pop-up pantry. So yeah, so this is the piece before the interval. And it is. Okay, this is, listen, I'm a classical musician, so you have to let me play a classical piece You might recognise it, so there is a kind of loose connection to, I think it was, this music was part of an advert. If you can guess the piece, great. If you can't, don't worry. But yeah, I think it was to do with sheep. I think you saw these sheep walking across the front of the screen, and this music plays in the background. I reckon, you'll get it. You're very clever, Ian.
I hope that you're enjoying it so far. Mansell's amazing. Thank you. In just a few moments, we're going to have tea and coffee in the back. You're welcome to, it'll be probably about a 20-minute break or so, tea and coffee. And they're going to go get that ready right now. They're just getting that ready. Take it off, that's your cue. But as they get that ready, I've invited one of the volunteers. Pop-Up Country is all volunteer run. And I've invited one of the volunteers in there to just let you know a little bit more about what Pop-Up Country is and what we do. So again, there's absolutely no expectation. I'm very delighted that you're just here to enjoy the evening, but any donations will go to the support of Pop-Up Country. So everyone's going to come in and tell us a little bit about it.
Thank you for this opportunity to tell you a little bit about the work of the Pop-Up Country. It's been an exciting adventure for us over the last 18 months. It's an initiative of the churches here in Mansell and started initially by the Vicar of St John's down in Low Bentham. Well, she was the Vicar of St John's in Low Bentham until last weekend, Reverend Anne Russell. But also supported by volunteers from across the community. It began because the youth club that runs in Bentham was not able to run during lockdown. As lockdown started to bite, we were unable to meet with the young people, unable to offer that support to the families that we were used to meeting with. And we were looking for a way to continue to support and help those families through what none of us knew what we were going to be going through. And so the idea was born of a pantry that would support families where perhaps an income had been lost, or where families were having to homeschool and were cooped up in small areas of house. And so we began to reach out to our families, but then we realised that the need stretched across the whole community. And so there were people in our community who were shielding and being brought a box of food, saving them having to go and do battle with the shops and take the risks that involved. Families were tearing their hair out with children who couldn't go out to play as much, and so we started to supply skipping ropes and hoops and footballs and craft activities and all sorts of things for children and then for adults too to do. Balls of wool and knitting needles, everything came out of the pop-up pantry. And it has been a real privilege to be able to bring that support to people across the community. And yes, it has been led by the churches, and that has meant that we have also been able to offer words of encouragement, words of comfort where they're needed, and even occasionally to offer to pray with people who wanted that. And so, yeah, that has been a blessing to us as well as to the people we've reached out to. But now, of course, things are changing, aren't they? And the world is starting to open up a little bit more. But the economic impact of COVID continues, and we don't want to abandon those who still need our support. So, as things change, people are back to work, back to normal-ish life, we notice that our donations have begun to reduce. People have been incredibly generous over the last year and a bit. We are staggered, are we not, Marcy, at the gifts that have been brought in. Maybe some of you among them. People who have brought in their holiday money because they were not able to go on holiday. And those gifts, the large ones and the small ones, have all contributed to supplying the needs of those who needed it in town. But things are changing. The youth club, amazingly, is back to operation. The young people can meet again at the youth cafe in High Bentham, and a lady called Katie has been organising events for them week by week. They need their space back. They don't want to have a pantry in the middle of their area for having a youth club. So we are looking for new premises. We are always on the lookout for new volunteers to come and bring their skills to us. And we have an ongoing need for finance. And just bless you tonight for coming along, and thank you in advance for anything that you are able to donate to the pantry, be that cash, be that skills or time, or even, who knows, maybe somebody's got premises to donate to us tonight. So thank you. Thank you for all that you have done to support the pantry over these last 18 months. We look forward to carrying on serving the community. Thank you, Mark.
Okay, bit of fun. Oh, more fun, hopefully. Good stuff. I enjoy playing, even though I like listening to it. My working five coming through. Oh gosh. So here's a question. What do a horse, that sounds posh, horse, it's in Yorkshire. What do a horse, how do you say horse in Yorkshire? Horse. What do a horse, a sheep and a tree have in common? Okay, another question. What am I? Variously shaped pieces of a tree, stuck together with boiled horse, strung with sheep's innards. Okay, let me read a poem by Richard Stilgo entitled The Violin Farm. A sycamore tree cannot mimic the lark. A sycamore tree's unaccompanied bark is silent until the tree's felled. Seated and shaped and then lovingly held beneath a Korean or Hungarian chin, for sycamore is what makes a great violin. A sheep cannot sing, the song of a sheep would shatter a goblet, rouse you from your sleep. But the guts of a sheep, when the sheep's passed away, can be twisted and tightened and tuned to an A. So what's that all filling at the sheep's middle, ends up with strings on the sycamore fiddle. Now a horse cannot sing to a musical scale, but if you sneak up behind it and shorten its tail, the hairs, when attached to a suitable rod, play the sheep's guts like the sounds of a god. The rest of the horse, if it's under the weather, can be boiled up to glue the whole thing together. So if you should pass by a meadow or lea where the sheep grazes next to a sycamore tree, and yonder a horse gallops, tail in the air, you will know the real meaning of what lies there. You can say to the kids, with a wave of your arm, what you see there is a violin farm. That's the answer to what am I? I am a violin. Okay, some more music. So, yeah. I was not only brought up to appreciate music, I was brought up to appreciate music, but like many other kids of my generation, I was also brought up to go to church. And I guess if I'm honest, I didn't get it. Interestingly, a reflection would be, if I look back, I guess I'm glad that they took me, but yeah, didn't get it, didn't understand. Week in, week out, going to church. I mean, we once a week, that was it. Maybe confession stuff, and I'm not knocking. I'm just saying, for me, it didn't make sense. You know, just went. It never really played a part in our family life. We used to pray together, all that kind of stuff. So I'm at school in my last year of school, and one of my best friends, Andrew, probably a bit of an eccentric, I would describe him as, and he's the only 15-year-old I know that would come to school with a newspaper. So quite an unusual lad, but yeah, we kind of were friends, and he invited me to a youth club that he went to in his village. So I live in this village called Braunton, and then if you go through Braunton and turn left, you eventually arrive at Staunton, and then you eventually arrive at Croyd. That's where Andy used to live, and if you carry on, you arrive at a place called Georgetown. And this place called Georgetown, there was this youth club that we had every Sunday. And what we used to do at this youth club would play snooker, or play pool, or table tennis. Sometimes in the summer we had barbecues on the beach, because that's what you do when you live in a beach community. And I remember, watching his friends. So at the end of the evening, we finished with a kind of talk. Okay, we'd gather around in this room, and this bigger guy would talk to us. But before we talked, we would sing songs. Well, I never sang songs. I was a bit embarrassed, but we sang these kind of lively songs. And then he would give a little talk about the Bible. Okay, and then there would be this what's called open time of prayer. And I thought, what is this? I mean, people just spouting forth prayers. I was so used to just reading them, and you get these young people that just spontaneously erupt into prayer. And I thought, crikey, what is this stuff? But I kind of went back there, and I kept going back, and my brother, bless him, we had a good relationship with him, but he thought I was crackers. He thought I was nuts going to this kind of Christian-y, youth-y, clubby thing, and my parents used to call it holy sausages. I don't know what the sausage were, but anyway. But I went one summer to, every summer people would come to this place. It was like a retreat centre, various youth groups would come down. And I was there one evening, this guy spoke. I can't remember for the life of him what he said. But at the end of it, he just said, does anyone here want to give their life to Jesus? And I thought, well, you know what, if becoming like the people that I see around me, if that's what inviting Jesus into life is about, then I'm up for that. And it's kind of, when I think back to that time, I think it feels like an incredibly selfish thing. Because actually it was all about me wanting to be like them. And of course, as I've journeyed on in my Christian life, I've seen that obviously Christianity is much, a lot more than that. But I think what I'm saying is that I saw something in somebody else. I saw something in somebody else that just inspired me. These young people who, their faith wasn't a once a week thing. They would talk about it through the week. They would read the Bible, and they would pray openly. I thought, they've got something that I'm just missing. And so I kind of asked Christ in life, and that's kind of where I am today. So irrespective of whether I'm a pastor or not, here's the point, that I made that step. I began the journey. And again, looking back, I think what I would say is that I think as a family, we would do church, and that would be a compartment of our lives that was completely separate from what we did for the rest of the week. But actually what I've realised is that there's obviously involved in every part of my life. That it wasn't about what I did on Sunday that mattered. Actually, he was saying, well, how about me and having a bit involved in the music, and so slowly there's this kind of period of of yielding more to him. And of course, the path that ultimately led me to meet my wife, Chrissy, she came down from living in Preston at the time, came onto a youth training course, do you call that? No, kind of working in schools training course. And I came from, I was in a suburban church, felt called to move to the inner city, because I was told about this statistic that most Christians live in suburbia, most non-Christians live in the urban areas. So I moved to this church and we kind of met, kind of hang out together, it's okay, so we kind of fell in love, and kind of got married, and now we have three children. Earlier on I talked about the importance of names, and let me just do this a little bit before I play something else. We called our first son Samuel. The name Samuel means God heard. Yes, Hebrew, obviously. It means God heard. And the reason we called him Samuel is because years before that, Tracy, we've been trying for children for years, and it just wasn't happening. Tracy went to the doctors and found out that there were 3 reasons why you couldn't have children. There wasn't just one, there were 3 kind of fairly good reasons why it wasn't happening. And so we kind of, okay, do we adopt, what do we do, we foster, all that kind of stuff was going through our minds. And then we went to an Easter convention. So the Free Message Church used to, every Easter, have a convention, and we'd go up to a place called Forwards to Preston. And this particular year, there's a guy called David Carr, very charismatic, quite a funny sort of person, life and soul of the party. And he was preaching, and he invited people forward at the end, who wanted prayer and stuff. In fact, I think he invited pastors to come forward. He wanted and our wives to pray over. And he kind of got to us. We were in this line, and he got to us, and he looked at Tracy and he laid his hand on her head, and he said to her, "You will increase." And we thought, came away from, what does he mean? Does he mean the church that we were pastoring at the time will grow? Didn't really understand. Well, a year later, to the day, Tracy's waters broke, and we gave birth to I didn't give birth, she did all the stuff. I was just pacing the corridor. Oh, first child, terrible time. Anyway, enough of that, let's not remind us, let's go down that one. And so we had our first child. And for us, and some would say, well, doctor got it wrong, or whatever. We just believe God heard our prayer. And we have three lovely children. And I know, look, there may be people here this evening who, that just hasn't happened. You prayed and you had a child, and I have no answer to that. I just know that in this instance, God heard our prayer and answered our prayer. And now, and it's a bit like a bus, isn't it? You wait for 1 for ages, and then 3 come up at the same time. A bit more music. A bit more music. There we go. Oh, yes. You might not, I forgive you for not knowing what this is, so I'll give you a clue. If I just say the word seasons, your role is to guess which one. Do that again, sorry, I've got a click track there.
First of all, thank you all for coming and making it such a successful evening. And a huge thank you to Mansell as well for that thoroughly enjoyable evening. When I was a bit younger, I used to play, not the violin obviously, as you I used to play badminton. And I played for a team, and we thought we were pretty good. And then I got the opportunity to go and see England play Denmark in an international. And then I went to see badminton at the Commonwealth Games. And when you see the best, it's what you think, wow, that's just a privilege to see the best. And I think we've heard the best tonight, and it's been a privilege. I'm sure we'd all agree it's been thoroughly enjoyable and a privilege to be here tonight and to hear you playing and to hear you speaking as well. And so we are truly thankful, and I think we should show our appreciation